community college. I'm going to give you guys a few more seconds or a minute or so to log in and load in so that we have everybody here with us. And then I'm going to introduce our awesome speaker, Terry Butorek, who is from the Transfer Center at Saddleback College. So I'll give everybody one more minute or so. I want to remind you all that this presentation, like all of the presentations we've done this whole week, are recorded and will be uploaded to our website at CUSD-Futureology.org. Like many of our previous presentations, your camera and your microphone are off, so we cannot see or hear you. If you have additional questions, please use the Q&A button to ask those. I would say, if possible, try and wait until about halfway through the presentation, because Terry will probably address some of the things that you guys are here to learn about. With that being said, I will hand it over to Terry. She can introduce herself and what she does, and we can learn more about transfer success from the community college. So Terry, take it away. Oh, Terry, you're actually muted. Let's unmute you.
There we go.
There we
okay.
go.
Share. And let me, hold on. And I'm going to bring up my PowerPoint. Kristen, can you see this?
I can. Now
okay.
It's in full view. Yep.
Okay, let me just start it from the beginning. Okay, hi, welcome. I'm glad you were able to make it tonight. I know it's a busy week. Everybody's starting back to school, and it's definitely an adjustment, I'm sure, for all of you. My name is Terry Butorek, and I'm a transfer counselor at Saddleback College. I've been there for about 4 years, and I've only done transfer. So tonight, we're going to talk about the pathway that you could take from the community college to your dream school. Let me see. Oops. Not sure. There we go. Okay. Tonight we have some learning objectives. You will learn about the 2 California university systems and how to transfer from the community college. You will also learn about the services that we provide at Saddleback College in the Transfer Center. First, we're going to talk about the University of California. They have 9 undergraduate colleges. They're research-oriented, and they follow a GE pattern called IGETC, which we'll talk about in a few seconds. And one of the ways that you can learn about what lower division you need to complete while at Saddleback is to use the website assist.org. This website is available to students and also counselors. Anyone can go onto the website and decide what college you want to transfer to and what major you're going to be, and then what major courses you need to finish at the lower division. They have a program called Transfer Admission Guarantee, or TAG. It is a program that is specific to the UCs. There are 6 UC campuses that offer this admission, and you have to meet specific campus requirements to qualify for TAG. The transfer admission requirements would be that you would follow the courses numbered 1 through 99. That's the numbering system at Saddleback College. You would need 60 units to transfer to the UC school, and you would need to complete English composition, critical thinking, and a transferable math. In addition, you either need to fulfill the complete GE pattern, or if you're a high unit major, which would include engineering, or any of the STEM bio or computer science, you could complete what's called a 7-course pattern for the high unit majors. I wanted to show you what the pattern looks like. These are the courses. I will try to make it a little bigger for you. Yeah, so that you can see we use a sheet to help the students figure out what courses meet each area that they would need to complete. First, you would have your English composition, your critical thinking composition. Oral communication would only be required if you were, in addition to applying to a UC, you were going to apply to a couple of Cal States, like Cal State Fullerton, Cal State San Marcos, or you wanted to go to one of the Polytechs, Cal Poly Pomona or SLO. You would need to complete one of the math courses right here. In addition, arts and humanities, social and behavioral sciences, physical and biological sciences. And in addition, you would also need to either complete at your high school 2 years of a foreign language other than English and get a C or better, or you can complete one course at Saddleback to fulfill that requirement. You might be asking yourself, who can file a tag? Well, if you're interested in Merced, Santa Cruz, Davis, Santa Barbara, Irvine, and Riverside, you can tag. These are the 6 campuses that offer this guarantee. I'm going to show you the grid that actually we use, and as a student or a parent, you could look at the grid to find out which majors end up working for that particular school. Okay, here we go. Make it just a little bigger. So this grid goes through each of the campuses. It also outlines which majors are excluded. So for instance, a lot of people like to tag to Irvine. One of the popular majors that people would want to go there for would be business administration. And that particular major, you cannot tag. You can apply, but you cannot tag and have a guarantee. The other major that a lot of people are interested in going to UCI would be computer science. And that one, additionally, you cannot tag at that school. So you go through the grid. It also tells you what GPA you may have to have for that particular major. When this last grid also talks about when you need to finish your English and your math requirements before transferring. So it's just a very informational grid that can help you figure out your plan. One of the ways that once you're in your second year at Saddleback, usually you're taking 15 units each semester, so you're completed 30 units at the end of your first year, and with those 30 units, you're qualified to tag. So you can use what's called a transfer admission planner, and that can really actually be started anytime, but particularly students really start it at the end of their first year. And this link here is at the UC website, and you complete an account here to start filling in information for your transfer admission planner. It also enables you to have contact with advisors from those schools and obtain any additional information, any programs that they may have even before you transfer, possibly a summer camp or something that you could add on to your resume for your admission purposes. The second universities that most people apply to is the Cal States. They use the course numbers 1 through 199 to transfer to the CSU system. You additionally need 60 units to transfer, and you need to complete your English, critical thinking, and oral communications, in addition to a transferable math, which they call the Golden Four. Those 4 classes and the 60 units absolutely have to be completed by your last semester before you start the university. You can use both the IGETC, which is the GE pattern that the students use for the UCs, or they have a separate GE pattern called the CSU GE. I'm going to be taking you to the CSU Apply. In addition to it being a place where you actually start your application, it has really pertinent information, that different guides, different ways when you're applying, if you have questions throughout the application. And they both the UCs and the CSUs have helplines, either through chat or actually calling if you're having a problem during the application period. The one thing that the CSUs have to help you get into the school is called the Associate Degree for Transfer. It's not every major, but most popular majors like communications, business administration are involved in this program. And if you finish your degree at the community college and you apply to a school that has that particular major and matches with your associate degree for transfer, you get a 0.1 bump up in your GPA, and you're guaranteed an admission to a non-impacted school, CSU school. So this is a GE pattern for the CSU GE. It looks very similar to the IGETC, which is the UC GE pattern. It just really, they really emphasize on A1 oral communication, that you have to have that particular course completed to be able to transfer. But a lot of the courses are very similar. I'm going to talk about the timeline for the TAG, which was the Transfer Admission Guarantee. It's in September 1st through the 30th. Then the UC application for the winter, spring, it's in July. And then for the most of what most people apply for, which is starting in the fall, would be the November time to apply. So it's November 1st through the 30th. The CSU application for spring is in August, for the full month of August. And then in the fall, it starts in the beginning of October and through the end of November. This year, the CSUs have extended the application season to the beginning of December. And it's mostly because of it falling right during the Thanksgiving season and students not being able to really get help during that time. We also have students who apply to private and out-of-state colleges. We help with the Common App, which a lot of the private schools use. We also help students figure out if there is a school with the Western Undergraduate Exchange, which is called WUI, which gives the students a significant reduction in the tuition fee. And they're actually, a lot of them are very popular. Colorado, Idaho, Arizona schools participate in that particular program. In addition, a lot of these schools will use our IGETC or CSU GE pattern so that when you get to those schools, you're complete with your lower division GE. You're probably asking yourself, how am I going to be able to pay for my students' education? Well, one of the first things you need to do is you have to file your FAFSA, and that started the beginning of this October and ends for us in March 2nd. It is also necessary for you to file for that even if you think you might not get any money, because if you were interested in any scholarships, that has to also have been done. For the UCs, they have a blue and gold plan. If you're California residents and you earn less than $80,000, you could qualify to have the whole cost of your tuition and the fees covered. Saddleback and private scholarships and loans are also available. The one place that I really recommend students go to is our financial aid website. They have direct links. We also, in the spring, like right after the beginning of the year, have a Saddleback scholarship, which provides quite a few scholarships to students either still attending Saddleback or who are planning on transferring. They can use the money with them when they transfer to the university. You're probably asking yourself, well, why would I want to go to Saddleback first? So one of the reasons is it really is an excellent way to save money your first 2 years. You can get ahead. We have smaller classroom sizes than if you were going to a university. And I want to show you just what kind of savings you would get. So we have 3 students here. We're looking at private, UC, and the Cal State Fullerton. So Caesar goes to Saddleback for the first 2 years and spends $2,700. And then he attends USC for 2 more years, so that's $112,000. It's a total of $115,000. And if he would have attended USC for 4 years, that would have been $224,000. So he has an amazing savings of $109,000 savings. And that is incredible because when he puts down where he graduated from, he puts down USC. Then we have a student here who's Lori, and she attends Saddleback also. She spends $2,700. She has 2 years at UCI, which is about $25,000, and she spends around $30,000 for her 4-year education. If she would have attended UCI for 4 years, she would have spent almost $51,000. So she has a total savings of over $20,000. And our last example is Miriam, who's going to Cal State Fullerton, transferring. She spends 2 years at Cal State at Saddleback, 2 years at Cal State Fullerton at $13,772. So she spends about a little over $16,000 for her 4-year education. She would have gone to Cal State for the four years. She would have spent around $27,000. So she has a savings of $16,000. Here's a little map of where our students attend, the top universities. For UCs, we have UC Irvine, which is our top school, UCLA, UC San Diego, UC Santa Barbara, and UC Berkeley. For students transferring or wanting to attend UCLA and UC Berkeley, they usually apply at the very beginning of their time at Saddleback and get into the honors program. And there's a very high percent, like 90% or above, especially for UCLA, to be admitted with, I don't know if you know, for UCLA, I think it's about 14 or 15%. It's very low for freshmen starting off at UCLA. Then we have Cal State University. Fullerton is the #1 choice. One of the reasons is they have excellent programs there, but we are their area community college, and because of that, they give us a break on the GPA for admission. Because we're in their area, our students only have to have a 2.80 or have had the last few years GPA. If you're out of the area, it's about a 3.5. So it's pretty hard to get into. You almost have to have mostly A's. Then Cal State Long Beach is second. San Luis Obispo is third. San Diego is fourth. And Cal Poly Pomona is fifth. So those are our top UCs and Cal States that our students attend. In the Transfer Center, we also have additional programs. We have a Class A, which is the Chicano Latino Academic Success and Empowerment Program. Therefore, students who identify as a Latino, they have extra peer mentors, workshops, group study, just really extra support and checking in with them, making sure they're okay if they have any questions. Also including their families, so their families understand what's happening in their pathway. They get a 1-hour counseling appointment, and before COVID, they were making field trips to local universities, and so hopefully within the next year or so that can happen again, which is really beneficial to them to actually see a university and get really excited, and I think it's motivating for them. I mentioned the honors program. They're really for students who want to get into really highly competitive UCs or private colleges or Ivy League colleges. We have a lot of partnerships with those universities across the country. They learn about research. They compete with their presentations. And they get a 1-hour counseling appointment every semester with an honors counselor who helps them stay on track. The Transfer Center services, we have what's called walk-ins. So if your student has a 15-minute question, a quick question about maybe a class or maybe dropping a class, if they want a regular appointment, it's a half hour. We have had in the past campus tours. This last fall, we did a virtual transfer fair, which was pretty interesting, and we had a lot of actually students who showed up. who are able to get information and even meet with advisors from those particular universities. We provide workshops learning about the honors program, Class A, learning about how to do the application, the insight questions that they have to finish for the UC application. We have an application open lab where we can help students, and we're doing it virtually, of course, but they can have questions answered about if they weren't sure how to answer something on the application. We are still having university representatives come in and meet with students, and we have pretty good turnouts with that. It's amazing. I always refer my students to meeting with them because sometimes they have more information and can help the student in preparing how they're going to approach their major or what classes they might want to take at our school before they transfer. So it's always good to plan ahead. So I wanted to find out if anyone has any questions, and also letting you know we're open every day at 8 o'clock. It's virtual. There's actually three ways you can contact us. Our phone number still works. That's 949-582-4328. Our email still works. That's sctransfer@saddleback.edu, and the www.saddleback.edu/transfer is our website. So you can also find out other information and sign up for any workshops, or email the front office if you have a question or something you're not sure about.
Thank you so much, Terry. We don't have too many questions in the Q&A,
Okay.
but I do have some clarifying points that I hope that you can help our families understand a little bit more specifically. So when we're talking about a typical transfer student that needs about 60 units to transfer to a Cal State or a UC campus, how long does that typically take a student? You know, what is considered full-time, and how would they get there in the most direct path?
Okay, so it's typically, your goal is to try to take 15 units every semester. If that feels like it's too much, because that's a pretty heavy load starting off at the college level. I recommend that the student maybe start off with 12 and then pick up a couple extra units during the summer, either the summer before they start at Saddleback or the summer in between before they start their second year. And so then they would end up having 60 units before they transferred after their second year. The goal is to try to encourage the student to be done in 2 years, but certain majors, especially the STEM majors, it's not unusual for them to take 3 years. In fact, there's so many courses that they need to take that physically you can't take like 4 STEM classes at the same time. It would be crazy. So I always tell my students, it's fine. Most people only leave, it takes them 3 years. So.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Terry. We have some questions about, you know, how long does it typically take a student? You answered this. Can you discuss just briefly, because I know we are going to have another presentation about this later on in the semester, but a little bit more about what the Promise program is and how that can help offset costs for students?
Well, the Promise program is an amazing program. I believe this is the 3rd year we've had it at our school. It is a state-funded program. It was initiated so that students would be really motivated to get out in 2 years, because they basically only pay for 2 years. You have to take a counseling class through the community college, which I'm assuming is going to, just because we're going to be online for spring, is online. and then you apply. You have to fill out the FAFSA. You have to fill out a form applying to the Promise program, and then you're in. They haven't really eliminated people, as far as I know, and I could be wrong, who were over a certain income level, but they weren't really limiting it. I think they had only so many slots, but we always had enough slots available. It means that your education for the 2 years is completely free, including books. So it's a pretty amazing program that people have been able to really lower their costs for their education and possibly do something they might not have thought of, which is maybe go away out of the area because they weren't paying for the first 2 years.
Yeah, I definitely think that we've seen some of those trends with COVID, students who were initially planning on going away and then those plans changed. They decided to reconsider or perhaps go the transfer route so that they were able to look at more options and stay at home safely over the past spring and then now fall. We have a question about a specific GPA to transfer into UC Irvine. Terry, can you talk a little bit about just the trends in transfer GPAs across the UCs in the Cal States? I know one big difference for our high school families is that there are very, very few weighted courses in college. And so the GPAs, of course, will look different. But Terry, can you clarify and talk a little bit more about those rates?
Okay, for the UCs, just if you look at what the tag, that transfer admission guarantee for UCI is 3.4. So not that it's a guarantee. If you, for instance, were applying to a program at UCI and it wasn't in the tag program, you would probably minimally have to go over a 3.4 for that major. But there are some majors, say you were a soc major or something and you didn't tag because you didn't meet the qualifications by the time that you were applying. If you were close to 3.4, that's kind of what we tell our students, you have a very good chance of getting in. And that's not like Kristen was saying, that's not weighted. It's just a straight class. There's no weighting in any of the classes. They all count the same and they all factor into your GPA. For schools like UC LA and UC Berkeley, you're looking at like a 3.7, 3.8 to get into those schools. You're pretty much a straight A student. And it helps, in addition, to have that honors distinction on your application for those schools. It really does. But there are other schools that it could be a lower GPA. If you were looking at UC Santa Cruz, it's around a 3.2 or less. So you definitely have to have a 3.0 or above to get into the less competitive UCs.
And for comparison for some of our senior families, historically the UCs for freshman admission, like Terry had mentioned, are typically very competitive or highly selective. They're accepting less than 30% of their overall applicants per year. So to know that there's a much wider range as a transfer, I think is a really fantastic option for students to know about. Terry, just off the top of your head, do you have an estimate of how many students actually participate in the honors program?
No, I think there was some notes on here. I don't know if there was. I'm not sure. I can't say. It has increased quite a bit over the last few years, just because we get a lot of really great students who couldn't get into their dream school, and they know that that's the way that they need to get in. We've added on extra counselors to work with those students because it is mandatory that they meet with an honors counselor every semester. I'm not sure. I don't have a number. I would just, yeah. But
Okay,
it has definitely increased over the last few years.
definitely.
And they're around other students who really love learning. These are students who really enjoy the process of having a conversation about a particular subject, not just learning it for rote, but actually having a dialogue with each other about it and their professors. So it really does set them up to attend a university where I think they will get a lot more out of each of their classes.
That's great information, Terry. Thank you so much. I'm actually going to share my screen because
Okay.
I want to show you guys something that Terry previously mentioned and clarify for some of our families. So this is the Dana Hills website, just as an example, but
Mm-hmm.
as Terry mentioned, we have Saddleback counselors that are on our campuses to meet with students now while they're in high school. And that includes in our hybrid schedules or any other time. So it will be in a different place on most of the high school websites, but if you go typically to the guidance homepage, you will be able to see all of their awesome presentations and things that they're doing, but you'll also be able to see where you can schedule an appointment with a Saddleback counselor. Most of the time you just have to scroll down a little bit to find it, but every single high school in CUSD has an assigned Saddleback counselor or two. They
Mm-hmm.
typically teach the Counseling 100 course, which is very popular with our seniors. That's a transitional course that happens throughout the spring semester before they graduate. And those counselors are also available to have appointments. So if you're thinking about transferring as an option for your student or for you, or you just want to have a really well-rounded backup plan, it's a great time to book an appointment and meet with one of those counselors in a virtual way or on your campus if possible. They can walk you through your specific option, like Terry described. Certain majors have different requirements that you need to take for units or for prerequisites. And so it's a great way to stay informed and know just what is going on from a bridge from the high school to the community college level. We have one more question, Terry.
Mm-hmm.
So Saddleback does not have all majors that can be transferable to UC, or I think maybe you're discussing the TAG or the TAP program.
Okay, so if we look at the two university systems, for the UCs, not every major you can tag to even the schools that tag. So you just have to make sure that if you're going to tag, that particular school will take your tag with that major. Then the second thing is the Cal States have the associate degree for transfer, and those degrees align with many of the CSU campuses majors, but you have to check with a counselor to make sure that you were going to get the extra bump in your GPA if you use that associate degree. The degree is something that's posted on the bottom of your transcript, and you can say you have an AA in biology or whatever it is that you got your AA in. That won't be taken away. It's just you want to see if it will give you an advantage at that particular Cal State campus that you want to apply to. And the other thing is, in addition to the counselors that you can meet with that do the counseling class, I would also recommend, it's not too early to meet in addition with a transfer counselor. We have specialized in extra information that we're on top of to make sure that our students have every benefit possible. And so if you have a student who's thinking of going into some kind of STEM, biology, engineering, computer science, please come and see us even before they start in the fall, because they really probably should take 1 or 2 classes in the summer to stay on track if they want to graduate in 2 years.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Terry. This was really informative. I want to encourage everyone to fill out our little QR code here. If you have not yet, this has been on all of the slides for the full college fair this week. It's a little post survey to let us know what sessions you guys would like to see again, or what things you would like more information about. We don't have any more questions, so I'm super excited to end pretty much on time. This presentation and all of the slides will be updated and uploaded on our website in the webinar locker. Typically next week at the earliest, we're going to try and have all of those posted for all of you. Thank you all so much for coming and for staying with us this evening. And thank you, Terry, for providing such great info.
Oh, thank you. Come and see us in the Transfer Center.
And with that, we're going to end tonight. I hope you guys all have a wonderful evening. Thanks so much for sticking with us.